All right, good evening. Thank you very much for everybody's attendance. We're going to start our meeting with a proclamation for Mental Health Week, and then we have a brief presentation to make, and then we'll proceed into our council meeting. Move my microphone a little closer so my friend who tells me that I'm not loud enough won't get mad at me. All right, proclamation for Mental Health Week 2023. Whereas the Canadian Mental Health Association Mental Health Week promotes mental health awareness through education campaigns, activities, and events held across Newfoundland and Labrador, and offers practical ways to maintain and improve mental health and support recovery from mental health problems and illnesses. Whereas the Canadian Mental Health Association encourages everyone to share their story by using hashtags MyStory and hashtag Mental Health Week to shine a light on your personal journey, a program for you to offer, and how your community supports mental health of others. Whereas increased awareness and understanding of mental health will promote the use of mental health services and supports and ensure Canadians with mental health related illnesses are afforded the opportunity to recover. And whereas Canadian Mental Health Association actively supports and encourages good mental health in all aspects of our lives during CMHA Mental Health Week and throughout the year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, George Andrews, Mayor of the town of Happy Valley, Goose Bay, hereby proclaim the week of May 1st to 7th, 2023, as the Canadian Mental Health Association's Mental Health Week. I encourage all residents to join me and share your story by using hashtags MyStory and hashtag Mental Health Week to shine a light on your personal journey, a program you offer, and how your community supports mental health of others. So I'll sign that. All right, so I'll put this here. We have a brief, quick presentation that we're making. Over the last number of weeks, our Occupational Health and Safety Committee have been doing work in our workplaces, and we've invested, upon recommendation, we've invested money into AED devices in our facilities. And as a result of that, we have an additional AED that's been procured, and it's decided that we would present this to the Ground Search and Rescue group. And we have a bunch of very brightly decorated, dressed folks up there. I'm going to ask you to come on down. And I'm not an AED expert, but it's a there we go. It's a device that, of course, the first responders and that have, and as a I guess a first responder group in our community, in a particular fashion, what they do, we're pleased to present them with this AED for their use. So you guys want to come around and we'll get a snap? Okay. I'm going to leave all the goodies there. There's all kinds of goodies. I hope I never have to be. Nope, that's good. Some other goodies like a case and book. There's an instruction book there. And that's some kind of. Oh, okay. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, folks. And sorry for the short notice, but much appreciated. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for everything you do.
Yes, thank you indeed for everything. And you're more than welcome to stay for the meeting if you wish. We're just waiting for our folks to. Thank you, sir. See you. To leave the chamber. All right, are we good to go? Mm-hmm. All right. So I will call the meeting to order, and thank everybody for being here. You have in front of you the agenda for our 35th council meeting of the 13th elected town council of Happy Valley Goose Bay. And I will ask for a motion to adopt the agenda. So moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Any discussion? Any additional items or anything? We're good? Okay, all those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Okay, motion is passed. Delegations?
None registered.
Okay, we have no delegations registered. All right, the next item in our agenda is the adoption of the previous minutes of the 34th council meeting on March 28th. So you've had the you've had the minutes before us for a while. I'll entertain a motion to accept them as presented.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Rumbold. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favour indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? We've accepted the minutes. We've adopted the minutes. Correspondence, I don't see any in the package, so I assume there's none. Okay, we have no correspondence this evening. All right, we'll move into our committee reports, and I will pass the floor to Councillor Brumfield for Community Planning and Development.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Planning and Development Committee met in the boardroom on Tuesday, April the 15th at 4:30 p.m. Present was myself and the chair, Councillor Hayward Broomfield, Councillor Jackie Cotton Hobbs, Councillor Bert Pomeroy, ex officio Mayor George Andrews. The staff present were the CEO, Nadine McCauley, engineer Randy Dillon, ET Mark Urquhart, and GIS Mark Macridis, and the executive assistant Kathy Eddy. The meeting was called at 4:35 p.m. There were no delegates present, and we reviewed the previous minutes and action items. There was no errors or omissions noted. Discussion on Crown land applications in general on Trans-Labrador Highway took place. The monthly permit report was attached and reviewed from the municipal engineer. Previous deferred land discretionary land application use. Newfoundland Labrador housing application for Lethbridge/Brett Street. Newfoundland Labrador housing making an application to build a multiplex housing in this area, which is a discretionary use. It was advertised for 7 days for public input or concerns. And after this time, it is up to the council to hold a special meeting to address this, which we will do, because the advertising is still ongoing right now. We also discussed an issue from one of our business clients to develop, RV develop on town land not yet owned by him or anyone else. It was delayed until we get the water study, groundwater study issue report, which is hopefully coming in June. And there are no other items on this. There was a short meeting this month. There are no items and no recommendations. We did have one, but it's been deferred for another day. So the meeting was adjourned at 6:34, and the next scheduled meeting is for Tuesday, May the 15th at 4:30 p.m. And thank you.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Brumfield that we accept the Community Planning and Development Committee report as presented. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? I would just like to know that the information in our package shows me as not being at the meeting, but I was indeed at the meeting. Who was present? Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussion?
Just on the Kellen Drive
Yep.
issue, we discussed that in the meeting. The report is still on par for June?
I'll ask Mr. Dillon, would you have an update?
Yeah, that's correct, Councillor.
Okay, so no other further updates from anything else you were working on or anything? No?
No, I'm waiting on a proposal from the consultant to address that particular issue, and they've yet to get back to me. I've emailed them there again today. They're supposed to put in a cost for a change order to specifically address the land suitability for that area. So hopefully I'll get that in the very near future, and then we can proceed with review of that issue in that particular area.
Okay.
Good. And that just being said, the water seems to, is there the preliminary data from the telemetry that's in the wells must have the water decreasing, does it? Because you don't even see, like along Kellen Drive now, it seems to be pretty
Yeah, that's correct, Mayor. The preliminary data that we've received all winter shows the groundwater going down lower,
Okay.
but that's expected to be in the winter anyway.
Yep.
I haven't had any data recently from the last few weeks.
Okay.
But I would suspect,
Yep.
given the level in the ditches and so on, and given the fact that we never had as much precipitation this winter as we normally do, that I would think we will have a fairly good year when it comes to groundwater issues.
Okay, good. Any other discussion?
Once we get that report, they will meet with council too, right?
That's correct, Council.
Yeah,
That's the intent.
Thank you.
And I think that we also agreed back prior to doing it that we would include the folks that have been affected in discussions after we have the information from the consultants.
Yeah, that's also
Okay,
correct, Mayor.
good. Yep. And I have touched base with 2 of the 3 that I heard back from, and they weren't having any issues there, so knock on wood, that continues. All right, so discussion being finished, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've accepted the community planning and development, and I'm just going to ask, if you're going to speak, if you'd either move closer to the microphone or move your microphone closer to you, just because sometimes people can't hear audio-wise well, so that would be good. All right, let's move to our next one is Community Services and Recreation, and the floor to Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community Services and Recreation Committee met on Wednesday, April 12, 2023, of course, at 12:05. Present was Chair Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Denise Rumbold, noted departed at 1 p.m., Mayor George Andrews as ex officio, Director CSR Travis Ford, CAO Nadine McCauley, EA Kathy Eddy, and CDR Manager Greg Osmond. Regrets were Councillor Bert Pomeroy. Meeting was called to order at 12:13. Review of previous minutes and action items with no errors or omissions. Discussion and new business items discussed were the preparations of the upcoming Guns N' Hoses hockey game. There was discussion on the town's involvement with the Labrador Winter Games from the CSR Director's perspective, and issues raised were sent in the CSR's report to the Labrador Winter Games Board. Discussions were had on vendor requirements for the upcoming celebrations at Kinsman Park. It was agreed that the decisions are to be made well in advance of these events and communicated to all vendors, as well as a PSA blitz educating the public about vendor and permit requirements. Chair requested CSR staff roll the MMC soccer field in the lead up to the soccer season. Currently, the field's in disrepair and requires flattening and suggestive hydro seeding. Chair inquired of CSR staff's work alone policy and suggested reviewing the policy through OH&S. Ongoing efforts from CSR staff to remove garbage along the bike trail was suggested, and to place garbage bins out earlier this year. The manager report was reviewed and attached. Mr. Ford advised the flooring was dismantled and some joints cracked in the process. Obviously, when it goes down again, we'll follow up on those. Also discussed in the report was the immediate requirement for booking software in arena facilities and recreation department. The system currently in place is cumbersome, outdated, and costly. Committee advised the director to immediately cancel the existing software subscription and investigate and come up with a program to go ahead with for the next CSR meeting. We have one recommendation to follow. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 10th at 4:30 p.m. Meeting was adjourned at 1:13 p.m. and please accept this as having the April 2003 CSR committee report being read.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moved by Deputy Mayor that we accept the Community Services and Recreation Committee report as presented. Seconder, Councillor Rumbold. Discussion. Okay, none being heard. All those in favor of accepting the report as presented indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we accepted that report. And now we're going to Finance and Admin. And, pardon me? Oh, sorry, yes, one recommendation. I apologize. Go ahead.
Thank you. The Community Services and Recreation Committee recommendation for Policy A0020. The CSR Committee recommends Council rescind Policy A0020, Community Recognition.
All right, so it's moved by the Community Service and Recreation Committee through Deputy Mayor Wallace that we rescind the policy A0020 with community recognition as the title. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion. Councillor Pomeroy.
Yeah, I'm wondering, can you give us an overview
Yep.
exactly what that policy is and why the reasoning for rescinding?
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one for
Deputy
sure,
Mayor.
so, thank you. With this one, this is a policy that hasn't been revived since 2013. It's an old, outdated policy that we no longer facilitate at all. It's the community recognition that used to be a banquet in the past. And now what we do is through Volunteer Week and continue down that road. So this one is completely to be rescinded, and then if anything further moves forward with anything separate to the Volunteer Week, we will do something separate.
Councillor Pomeroy, is good?
It's good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it just is a change to reflecting what we're continuing to do in terms of Volunteer Week. So, all right. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've rescinded A0020. Okay, and now I will turn the floor over to my colleague, Councillor Rumbold, and Finance and Admin and Policy.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee met on April 17th, 2023. The meeting was called to order at 4:35 p.m. Present were myself as chair, Councillor Todd Winters, Mayor George Andrews as ex officio, CAO Nadine McCauley, DFO Mike Dalmont, SAT Kelsey Campagna, HR Kellyanne Jack, CDR Greg Osmond, and EA Kathy Eddy. Regrets were extended by Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace. The committee reviewed previous minutes and no errors or omissions were noted. Action items were reviewed and updated accordingly. For new business, a request was received for a business and property tax exemption with recommendations to follow. Request was received for a water and sewer tax exemption, which required more information and has been deferred to next meeting. Requests were also received for interest relief and recommendations will follow. A donation request was received with a recommendation to follow. Under other business, the findings from the 2018 and 2019 financial audits were reviewed by committee and discussion held with staff on those reports. Important takeaways were noted. The DFO advised the committee of a new software program that has been demoed by the town to streamline the complaints received and delegation resolution process. The committee agreed that new technology is important, especially when the result is a more user-friendly system. Our SAT, Kelsey, presented her report. This year, we have already received 72 applications for the low-income tax relief program. We continue to encourage residents who fit the criteria to apply for this program. Our DFO, Mike Dalmont, presented his report as well. Our budget for 2023 is on par, and there were no areas of specific concern noted. Our meeting was adjourned at 6:15 p.m., and our next meeting is scheduled for May the 16th. I'd like to make a motion you accept my report as presented.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Rumbold that we accept the Finance, Administrative and Policy Committee as presented. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Okay, no discussion. Okay, I'm taken back. All those in favour indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion is passed. All right. Recommendations.
Okay, I do have 6 or 7, I do believe, so, but they should be fairly straightforward. So our first one is the SPCA property tax exemption request. The Finance, Admin, and Policy Committee recommends Council deny an exemption for property tax for the SPCA in the amount of $2,404.60 on parcel ID 260300.
All right. It's moved that we deny the exemption for parcel or par ID 260300 in the amount of $2,404.60. Seconded by? Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? Councillor Rumble. Councillor Rumble first.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to note, I'm going to kind of jump ahead a little bit just for everybody's information, because we have to deal with each, when we have a request, it can't be lumped into one. So there are 3 components to this particular one. The first one is a property tax exemption request, the second one is a business tax exemption request, and the third recommendation will actually be for a donation. So it was discussed, and even though I'm kind of skipping ahead, just to let you guys know what was discussed by committee and what seemed to be the best fit was for council to recommend a donation to the SPCA that they could use in whichever way they saw fit, which may result in them using the donation funds to pay the amount that was outstanding for property tax. But that was just the rationale behind that.
Thank you. Councillor Hobbs?
My question is, this property tax is from 2022 for the exemption they're looking for 2404?
Let me just
We'll
bring
ask the
that up.
question to our CAO. Yep, or do you have it in your report?
I have it in the council package, I
Yeah,
just
that's
have
fine.
to get there. Just bear with me. The electronics are great, they just
When
aren't
they
the
work, yeah.
fastest.
Just, do you know what year the exemption request, this one was for? 2022? the-
2023.
Yeah,
Actually,
2023.
council
This current year,
package,
right?
it
For the
is.
current year.
Yes.
And we all know that they put out a public plea a couple of months ago for financial assistance because their doors are about to shut. So, I find this a difficult one. They only have a handful of volunteers and they're doing everything in their power. We all know that they're fundraising day in, day out to try to keep the doors open. A little bit of more, I won't support it, but that's my opinion, but I just think, again, this is non-for-profit and they're struggling to keep their doors open. And
But I think if, as Councillor Rumble said, this is a 3-part.
yeah, we're giving them a
Thing?
donation, I see that, but,
Yeah.
we could have given an exemption to it, so.
But the
I
intent
just
is,
wanna
the
get my
intent is the
opinion
same.
out there that I'm not supporting it, and, I'm a big advocate for SPCA, and, they're important in our community, and I would never wanna see their doors shut.
Okay, Councillor Pomeroy?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I understand the rationale for providing a donation of $2,500, but then they're looking for a property tax exemption for $2,400. Why would we charge them property tax and then on the other end give them a check back? Why don't we just, I would have no problem denying or supporting the recommendation, but it just seems like we're doing it backwards.
Deputy, are you done?
We're saying you pay us $2,500, we're gonna give you $2,500. So why would we just give them an exemption and not provide the $2,500 donation?
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
I think when it comes to tax exemption, you can't have, okay, we're doing it for this person, we're doing it for the next person, and denying it or accepting it. It has to be a across-the-board policy or position we're in, that it's across the board we're denying, and if it is that it comes to the ability for us to give a donation, then we do so. This one, it's even $100 more, and then obviously, am I wrong in saying that we can't do 0%? We can't completely cancel out? You can't, so you can't give zero, you can't mark the whole amount out.
So I
off of
think-
property tax.
I think a couple of months ago, there was an attempt at committee to come together with a policy that, the county council with a policy that was turned down because of different things. I mean, we've already set a precedence where we've given some relief in certain circumstances to some organizations, and I think this one's an attempt to realize the important service that, yes, they provide in our community, no doubt. The thing is, though, is that it really is net zero. So if in the event tomorrow morning it's $2,500 that's going to be given to the organization, and then they can choose to pay that out in terms of, so that really the net result is zero. It's a $2,500 donation that they can use from an operational maintenance perspective to do what they wish, which is the taxes. But it keeps us in line because we have denied some groups the exemption, and we have, we've made different changes for different groups. So I think this is an attempt to understand that, yes, the financial hardship was there, and that this is a contribution to that.
Just one more question,
Just one sec
Mayor.
now, before you go there, I'm going to go to Councillor Winter.
Yeah, just go back to what you were saying. I think the rationale basically is the way we done it was, the town do have $20,000, I think, for donations, and that we usually give to the SPCA, so that was kind of to offset that balance so that the town taxes actually get paid, and we are providing funding for the SPCA to do what they need to do.
Councillor Pomeroy.
And just if you recall, the last couple of meetings, we had similar requests, and the wording was to deny an exemption. In the event that this motion does not pass, do they get an exemption? Or does it have to come back to council for another vote?
Well, in the unique nature of it, if we deny the denial, there is no motion to approve unless somebody either makes it through committee or makes it at the table.
Yeah,
So all
because
we're
we can
dealing
keep
with is
coming
this.
back month after
Well,
month.
yeah, absolutely. So, and this is where a couple of months or several months ago now, we went back to committee to try to come up with some sort of sustainable, I guess, policy in terms of not-for-profits and other groups. And this is where I think the discussion went around the table in terms of we can make a donation to a particular group or groups, but I think that, given the unique nature of, I guess, the desire or the need, this was a way that we, I think, committee decided that, or recommended that.
Just to end, Mayor, and the last time we had a similar motion, we removed deny and exemption and included to approve. It makes it clearer for council, and then you got a definitive decision.
Right. That I'm not going to speak to the particular motion, but when you change the intent of a motion, it's a hostile amendment, which would have to be done, I think, through another move. That's not a friendly amendment. If you change if you want to change the amount, that would be a friendly amendment. If you want to change the intent, that's a hostile motion, which wouldn't be our amendment.
It would mean the exact same thing.
Right, but at the end of the day, the intent here is to provide necessary funds to a group who's struggling, who does incredible work in the community. Absolutely, it provides them with $2,500, right? And that's where that came from. Because I mean, we're responsible for treating everybody fairly as possible, and that's what I think this came from. Because we don't have a particular policy. We have told other groups that, look, you have to pay your property tax, your business tax. We've exempted some groups. We've turned some groups down both, and we've turned some other entities down for the same thing. We've charged them the property tax, but I mean, at the end of the day, there's a cost to that property, whether it's snow clearing or water and sewer and that stuff. So that's why I think from a committee perspective, we need to go back to committee and try to come up with, I think it's only 16 organizations, I think, that fit under this clause, I guess, or this umbrella. So I think that, I think that we need to do that work at committee, and we won't solve that here. We haven't been able to solve it at the council table. Councilor Rumble.
Mayor, just one final comment as to some of the conversation, some of the discussion that was held at committee. It was explained to us by the DFO that when we have a budget, when we prepare a budget, we do it based on this is what we anticipate getting for property taxes. So, like, just pretend we're in this little small village and we've got 10 houses, and each house has a property tax bill of $2,000, so it's a $20,000 budget. When we exempt something, that removes that from the budget. So we were kind of throwing off our numbers by this is what we budgeted for, but then we exempt, so then we've thrown that off. By doing the donation, as Councillor Winter spoke to, we have a donation budget that won't impact that budget, so that we can kind of say, okay, we're going to avail of these funds that we have, and we're going to still provide support. But that was the rationale. I know when you said it seems kind of backwards that we're denying this, but we're going to take it. But that was the whole rationale, was to take it from a different pool.
Councillor Brumfield.
I'm going to sum up what I see is going on here right now. Everyone is correct, it's 0-0, but it's not. What we're doing is we're increasing our revenue, but not increasing our revenue, we're keeping it at $2,400.04. We're increasing our donation expense by $2,500. Now, if we just delete and eliminated the property tax exemption request, and we didn't put in a donation of $2,500, we still had, that means we're going to, end result there is going to be the exact same. We're reducing our revenue, we're also reducing our expenses. We take $2,500 out of our donation account, that's going to be $2,500 less we have to donate to someone else, versus reducing our taxes.
Mayor.
Increase in expenses and
Okay.
revenue.
Councillor Compton-Hobbs.
I was gonna say, similar to what you're saying there, Council Broomfield, because they're looking for 3,200 in exemptions, and we're turning around and give them 2,500, like, to me, I would've just exempted both of them and $3,200 and keep it that donation for another group.
Okay, is there any new or additional, because we're going to do the same thing now in the next one, and does anybody have anything new to add? Okay, Deputy Mayor?
I think we cannot remove 100% of the property tax from, we can't give them a completely free,
Why not?
Well, go
It's
to
our
council, you
choice.
can.
Vote of council, yeah.
so we're permitted to?
So, okay, so,
Not charge them.
yeah, we have to charge
them
them.
something.
Yeah.
We have to charge them property taxes applicable to their zoning.
All right, so the motion on the floor is that the council deny the exemption of property tax for the SPCA in the amount of 2404.60 for par 26030. So all those in favor of the motion indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded? Okay. Motion is passed. All right, so next recommendation.
My next one, Mayor, SPCA Business Tax Exemption Request. The FAP Committee recommends council deny an exemption for business tax for the SPCA in the amount of $874.40 on par ID 2603-00002 due to the reduction of the mill rate for not-for-profit at the March 2023 Public Council meeting.
All right, it's moved by Finance and Admin through Councillor Rumbold that we deny an exemption for business tax to the SPCA in the amount of $874 on par ID 2603-00002. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Okay, none being heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded? Okay, motion is passed. Next recommendation, please.
SPCA cash donation. The FAP Committee recommends council approve a cash donation to the Happy Valley Goose Bay SPCA in the amount of $2,500.
Okay, it's moved by FAP through Councillor Rumbold that council approves a cash donation to the SPCA in the amount of $2,500. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. All those in, discussion. Okay, none being heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded? Okay, recommendation is passed. Next recommendation, please.
Donation request, Melville Public Library. The FAP Committee recommends council approve a donation in the amount of $5,000 to the Melville Public Library for the fiscal year 2023.
Okay, it's been moved by the FAP Committee through Councillor Rumbold that council approves a donation in the amount of $5,000 to the Melville Public Library for fiscal year 2023. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion. Councillor Pomeroy.
Just a question, perhaps, Mayor, for the CAO. I believe at one point this was included in the budget as a grant. Is it now part of the council donation budget line, or is it still a grant from the town?
The past 6 years, it's come out of the donation funds.
It's come out of there, but it was a grant at one point, right?
It was always given, and that was the
They've been
conversation.
getting that forever.
Yeah, that was the conversation I asked at committee. Is it possible
To just roll it in.
to just have it in there as an ongoing,
It used to be
right?
allowed.
Yeah, it
That's
was,
what I
yeah.
thought,
So maybe that's for future consideration so that we don't have to, if that's what we're going to do. And similar, if we develop a policy for other organizations and groups that, we look at it that way and as opposed to coming back year after year after year. So if somebody happens to forget or gets missed or misplaced or whatever, then, we have to go through a process different than what we
And,
would do.
Just one other question.
Yep.
So we get reports from the library every year, and as well as the SPCA, just to go back, but we get reports from these not-for-profits of where their financial situations stand, right?
We've received reports from the library,
Okay.
not from the SPCA.
Okay.
Councillor Compton-Hobbs?
Just to note the typo, it's minute, but there's a percentage there instead of.
This is only on our
Yeah.
recommendation page.
If it's going into the minutes or whatever.
All right.
1,000%.
Yeah.
That's all, yeah, 5,000%. Any other further discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? Okay, we've approved that recommendation. Next recommendation, please.
Interest relief request, Lloyd Hillier. The FAP Committee recommends council deny the request for interest exemption of $3,428 on par ID 262453.
Okay, it's a recommendation to deny the request of interest exemption of the noted amount on par ID at 262453 in the amount of $3,428. Seconded by Councillor Winters. All those in favor indicate. Yes, I'm sorry. Discussion.
I got a question. Can you just give us a little bit of background, what was in his letter, and why he's
So-
requesting this?
Before we go there, is that an item that should be discussed, the details of the letter from a public perspective?
Well, we don't need a letter,
Just,
just,
no, I'm just checking with the CAO first.
What, can you say more what you're looking for?
well, he's looking at exemption. I briefly read the letter, but he's looking, just so people know, he's looking for an exemption on a piece of land that was,
Vacant.
Interest charges.
it was vacant, but the water and sewer wasn't hooked up either.
That's
vacant
not
land.
this one.
Yeah.
that you're-
Yeah.
That's not this one.
Yeah, this is the interest on an
Not
overdue.
this
account.
recommendation.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that we don't get into information that shouldn't be discussed in a public forum.
Yeah, it's related to a request for an exemption for interest
Right.
only on
Yeah.
property tax outstanding.
And he had an issue with why he was getting charged all this interest.
That's a different topic when we're voting on that.
Yeah,
one. And I got
that's
a
it.
question on that one.
That's a separate,
That's it.
Just the next one, right?
yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
last one for
The
him
last
here.
Okay, so let's,
But they all kind of tie in together.
no,
but
they have to be
one
separate,
at a time.
because you have to do exemptions
Right.
separate. So, any other further discussion on this item?
I'll ask the question on the next one then.
Sure.
No,
absolutely.
item F,
F.
not the next one.
F, yeah.
G, item G is the one.
No.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
sorry.
G, yeah. Okay, so, any further discussion on this particular motion? All right, none being heard. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? All right, we've denied that request. All right, next recommendation, please.
Interest relief request, Lloyd Hillier. The FAP Committee recommends council deny the request for interest exemption of $3,428 on par ID 079971.
Okay, it's been moved by the FAP committee through Councillor Rumbold that we deny the interest exemption request of $3,428 on par ID 079971. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Discussion. Councillor
Just,
Pomeroy?
I noticed that the previous motion and this motion, the amounts are exactly the same. I am assuming it's two separate properties. I shouldn't assume, but it's two separate properties,
Yes, the two
Definitely.
different par IDs are there.
and
Yeah,
it's
the two-
vacant land, correct?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
par IDs, the parcel IDs
Yeah, They're
indicate
separate, yeah, but the amounts are the
two
same. so
identical,
I'm-
yeah.
I can only assume the land is the same
Value.
value.
Same value, yep. Any further discussion? Okay, none heard. All those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Okay, we have approved that recommendation. And last recommendation you
My
have?
final
There you go.
recommendation, Mayor, water and sewer tax relief request, Lloyd Hillier. The FAP Committee recommends council defer this request until clarification of address is confirmed.
Okay, so it's moved by the FAP committee that we, through Councillor Rumbold, we defer this request until clarification of the address information is confirmed. Seconded by Councillor Winters. Discussion? So I have to ask a question, just me asking. Why would we have to move that we're deferring a request? Wouldn't we just defer it? Why would that have to become as a motion to council? Because we are going to defer it. Wouldn't it just not come to,
There was a
Council?
recommendation from management to either approve or deny, and then committee decided to defer it.
yeah, but the
That's
recommendation would come from committee, so whether or not it comes or not.
That's why if
I just-
they
I-
defer, they should-
Yeah, if we're going, if it's possible, if we're going to defer a motion, we don't need to have a move or second or debate about deferring a motion, because if we're going to have a discussion about it, we're deferring it for a reason, so the discussion really is not irrelevant, but won't have the full same information, so.
And the clarification of the address, is that why it's being
No,
deferred?
it's the clarification of the information for that particular address, not the address,
Clarification of address.
yeah.
So the word
Because there was,
Address
I think there was
details.
some confusion as to what land was
So we
actually
don't
being,
know the address,
yeah,
right?
No, not that we don't know the address.
yeah.
The information provided by the applicant was not,
We weren't sure if it was that particular piece
didn't
of land.
match up with the description, the parcel ID. So we just needed to get further information.
Okay, so it is, we're gonna defer it, so we might as well have that conversation at some other time. So all those in favor of deferring indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Okay, motion and recommendation is passed. So maybe in the, going forward, if we're gonna defer something, we don't really need to have a discussion and a debate
No.
on something that we are going to deal with in the,
Thank you.
in the future. All right, municipal services. And the floor is yours, Councillor Winters.
Thank you, Mayor. Meeting was held on Wednesday, April 12th, scheduled for 5 p.m. Present were Councillor Todd Winters, Hayward Brimfield, Denise Rumbold, CAO Nadine McCauley, Superintendent of Public Works Randy Chambers, Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy, Regrets Randy Dillon, and Keith Pye. Meeting was called to order at 4:36. Previous minutes and action items were no errors and omissions. Manager's report, Public Works. Manager's report was attached and reviewed. Crews have been focusing on water issues and catch basins. Depot maintenance is ongoing. Water and sewer, the manager was not present. However, his report was attached and reviewed. Engineering report, the manager was not present. However, his report was attached and reviewed. The big thing coming out of that was the pool at the Central Labrador YMCA will be closed for the first 2 weeks of May to correct deficiencies. However, it was suggested at this time that the timeline could be closer to a month. I'm still waiting on that.
Yes, Councillor, at this juncture, it looks like it'll just be for the 2 weeks. So
Okay.
it'll be closed for 2 weeks, and that's the intent. Now, pending delivery of materials and so on, but it's anticipated that will only be 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that'll be the start of May, right?
It'll be starting on the, this weekend.
All right. Item 4, discussion of new business. We were informed that the Lawrence O'Brien Center is back in order. Item 5, we have no recommendations, and the date of the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, May 12th at 12:05. The meeting was adjourned at 5:18.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Winters. Moved by Councillor Winters that we accept the Municipal Services Committee report as presented. And a seconder, Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion?
Mayor, just got a couple questions.
Yep.
Councilor Winters, I don't know did you discuss spring cleanup in your meeting?
No,
No.
that was just basically, what we discussed was what was done for the past month, the previous month.
But we do know there's a date and all the information's on the town website for May 29th, I
For
believe.
May.
Yeah, but it wasn't discussed in,
It wasn't
in their
discussed.
committee.
Wasn't discussed in your meeting. The other one, was it discussed in your meeting about brush cutting on intersections?
No, that's all basically scheduled in the manager's report of what's expected and what the monthly duties are of the,
So we don't know when that's starting either, right?
nope.
Last week might start today.
Yeah, we haven't seen a summer work plan, but they've been, doing the sides of roads and that kind of
I've
deal.
seen them out
Yep.
sweeping and
Okay. Yep.
so on, but I just wondered about, I've had a few residents approach me on the brush cutting on intersections. As the chair, I don't know, Todd, if you wanted to add that to your agenda for the next meeting or whatever.
We
Cool.
can
We make that
request
note?
we can request that.
Can we
for
make that
next
note for the next meeting, please? Okay.
year. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this report? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Okay, motion is passed, recommendation is passed. Or no recommendation, I guess reports received. All right, we'll move into Protective Services. Councillor Palmer.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Protective Services Committee met on April 18th. Present were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Ella Wallace, Councillor Jackie Compton-Hobbs, Chief Administrative Officer Nadine McCauley, Director of Protective Services, Fire Chief Brad Butler, and Executive Assistant Kathy Eddy. Meetings called to order at 12:09 p.m. We reviewed previous minutes and action items. There were no errors or omissions. We also reviewed the RCMP report for March. The Happy Valley Goose Bay Detachment responded to a total of 599 occurrences, which were classified as calls for services, compared to 466 in March of last year, and that's a 30% increase over a year ago in terms of calls. Total of 189 people were incarcerated for a variety of offenses during the month. The RCMP is encouraging residents to report crimes or to come forward with information in an effort to maintain public safety by calling the department at 896-3383. Those who wish to remain anonymous can obviously call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 8477. In his report, Chief Butler noted there were 8 emergency calls for assistance during the past month, bringing the total for the year to 36. Our fire apparatus is fully operational, with the exception of auto eject parts waiting for installation on rescue vehicle number 1. New bunker gear is ordered and is expected to arrive by September. Fire Protection Officer Andrew LaFrenz completed 5 new inspections, 4 follow-up inspections, 7 home-based business inspections, 1 home oxygen inspection, and inspections for the arena and parking lot during the Labrador Winter Games. He's currently working on documentation for fire smoke exposures for volunteer firefighters with respect to coverage for cancer by the province and Workplace NL. Training is ongoing for 2023 and recruitment has begun with hopes of requiring new volunteer members. I understand that those interviews are taking place this week
And last week.
so we're still ongoing. Okay, thank you. The annual Guns and Hoses hockey game between the RCMP and firefighters took place on Wednesday, April 19th. From all accounts, it was a successful event, with $3,000 being raised for the Helping Hands Committee in support of long-term care residents. Thanks to all who made this event possible and to the community for supporting such a great cause. Animal control report for March was attached and reviewed. The annual Tag Your Critter event took place on April 15th and was a huge success with some 93 tags being issued. Animal control officer will be taking in a presentation, Be a Tree. Is the name of the presentation that teaches young children how to deal with unfriendly or unfamiliar dogs. For National Pet Day, which took place on April 11th, staff were asked to submit pictures of their pets, and a promotional video was created and shared. The animal control officer is currently working on doing a promo video with the SPCA to give residents an idea how the town's kennel operates, as well as a tour of the SPCA shelter. The hope is to get people to see that the kennel isn't a scary place for their animals, but rather a safe place for them to hang out if they happen to get picked up by animal control. As well, to really drive the message home that any animal that is picked up by the town that isn't claimed will be placed with the SPCA until they are adopted. The town do not euthanize animals any longer. There are no recommendations, Mayor, from the committee this month. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May the 10th at 12:05 p.m. With that, I move that the Protective Services Committee be accepted as read.
Okay, it's moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we accept the Protective Services Committee as presented. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion?
I just wanted to acknowledge the increase in the calls that the RCMP received is quite high for this time of year. Well, their increase. So we all know that the numbers around are increased. So I just want to mention that, and for the public to continue to call the RCMP. Data is important. So continue to call. And just one more question, if I could ask the CAO if there's an update on the MEO position.
So can we just finish this one, and then we'll go into that question? Right. Let's the finish the discussion on the report. We'll accept the report and no, I'll come right back to you. Any other further discussion in relation to the report? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the report as presented indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, we've accepted, motions passed. Okay, Councillor Hobbs. Your question to the CAO. Can we get an update in the MEO process, please?
The competition closed on Friday, and
Okay.
the Director of HR is going through the applicants to see suitability for screening, and then interviews will be set or scheduled.
Okay.
I'm not sure what date.
Thank you kindly. All right, reports are done, so we move into approval of checks. And we do have a new updated approval of checks. Yep, here we go. All right, so I'll pass the floor to Finance and Admin Chair, Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion that we accept checks for the period of April the 4th to April the 25th in the total amount of $745,341.96.
Just as a point of order, there was a check there, I just want to bring it to your attention, thank Deputy Mayor for bringing it to mine. There's a check there for the Labrador Winter Games. Do you want to, are you fine with that? Or do you want to step aside for that one? It's number 60, right here. Look.
Yeah, I can remove myself from that.
Okay. All right, so just have the record indicate Councillor Winters, as the chair of the Winter Games, is just going to remove himself from a conflict perspective for the approval of check number 26060. So if you can do your math fast, or we can just do it minus that check number. Everyone's going crazy at their phones. Yep. Okay, do you have a new amount?
That is 2250? I don't have it done yet. You know, I'm
Okay, hang on.
right?
745,341.96 minus what's the check amount?
2250. If I was
22
home, I would ask
2250?
Alexa.
Okay, it's
743019196.
There you go. All right, so it's moved by Finance Admin through Councillor Rumbold that we approve the checks in the amount of $743,091.96. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Wallace. Discussion. All right, none heard. All those in favor indicate with aye.
Aye.
Aye. Contrary-minded? Okay, motion's passed. All right, sir. I apologize, but we did that backwards.
We did.
I apologize. We did it backwards. So, just, you want to step out again for a quick second? And I do apologize for you. Trying to be too good, see?
What do you mean, is it back?
Well, he can be here for those ones. He didn't need to be, he can't be here for the other one, or doesn't want to be for the other one. All right. The floor is yours again, Councillor Rumbold.
Okay. So we're motioning to accept one check in the amount of $2,250?
To approve, yep.
To
Right.
approve, sorry.
Yep.
One check in the amount of $2,250.
Yeah, and it's written to the Labrador Winter Games, so. All right, moved by Councillor Rumbold, seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Compton Hobbs. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor indicate with aye. Aye. Contrary-minded? Passed. I apologize, sir. All right. That being said, going to Councillor's Forum. Let me see, where am I starting tonight? Councillor Pomeroy.
Yes, thanks, Mayor.
Oh, sorry.
One second. Did you want to redo that motion with Councillor Winters included for the 7?
Yes.
We can indeed, from a syntax perspective, yep. All right, I'm going
Okay.
to ask Councillor Rumbold to move that we approve the checks that Councillor Brumfield was, our Councillor Winterside wasn't in conflict with.
Okay.
All right, floor is yours.
Okay, I would like to move that we approve checks in the amount of $743,091.96.
Okay. Moved by Finance and Admin through Councillor Rumbold. We accept checks in the amount of $743,091.96. Seconded by Councillor Brumfield. Discussion? All those in favour again, indicate with aye. Aye. Contraminded? Okay, motion's passed. All right, we correct our little my error. All right, Councillor's Forum. I'm going to go to Councillor Pomeroy.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Not a lot to say. I mean, we're seeing an increase in a lot of people moving around town, in this part of town particularly. I've also seen a bit of an increase in the RCMP presence, which is good to see. Hopefully it'll last. But I mean, what have we got to do as a council to get the government to listen to our concerns? They may be listening, but they're not doing anything. We come back month after month talking about public safety issues in our community. And I mean, as a council, we've been racking our heads around how we can deal with the situation, and all we get is lip service, in my opinion. And it's time that you know, the community, I believe, supports council in our efforts to try and deal with this. Some people may think we can do more than what we're doing, but we're doing the best we can. And so we need the community to keep doing what they're doing, rally behind council, rally behind each other, come together and just drive this message home to those who can make a difference. And hopefully they'll listen at some point. Just one other thing, a little bit, just mind, bear with me for a second. I just want to put another plug in for the Happy Valley Goose Bay Recyclers. Their drop-off day is this Saturday, or Sunday, sorry, on the 30th. And I encourage all council to visit the facility on Sunday if you can. See what amount of work that they're doing and all the recyclables that they're taking and all the material that's not going into our landfill. They take everything from containers, milk jugs, cartons, plastics, Tetra Paks, tin cans, pie plates, mixed paper, corrugated cardboard. So all these things are not going into the landfill, and it's worth your while to go up. And we, like I indicated before, since we started recycling a lot of these materials, I'd say we reduced 75% of what we throw into the landfill just in my house alone. So I would encourage council, and I actually challenge you to pick up the challenge, do it for a month. The information is readily available online about what they accept. It's a $10 drop-off fee to help cover off the cost of shipping the materials out. And you know, as a council, I think we need to be doing more to support groups like this here, totally volunteer-based. We do provide a venue or facility for them to operate from, but the contribution that they're making to this community and to our landfill is enormous, and needs to be recognized. And I think it'd be good if council could drop up on one Sunday a month at the end of the month and get a good view of what's going on. I think it'd be eye-opener for some people. And one other thing before I go, I just want to encourage residents and businesses and groups and organizations to fill out the online survey for the strategic plan that's in the town is working towards having completed for the next, to help guide us for the next 4 or 5 years, and to participate in any engagement sessions that will be taking place over the next little while. Your worship, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's scoot over, jostle it up here. Councillor Brumfield.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll keep mine nice and short. I usually do. I'd like to thank the people who did the right display at Lawrence O'Brien the weekend. It's actually on the Gold Seating at 6:30 when we get out, right? They had some good photographs of Labrador, the coastal Labrador in particular, right? So it was quite good to see. Volunteer Week, I'd like to thank all the volunteers over the years whose really have been helping out this town and many other organizations get involved in improving everything here. Another item I've noticed, well, spring is here and everyone knows that. It's time for people to slow down, because you'll notice there's an increase now in kids on bike, kids on scooters, doubling up, going above the speed limit. They should be going on that road, right? And as well, we also got the joggers out, and I'd love to be one of them, but I'll never do that again, so good luck to them. And then the end of this month, roughly, we'll have spring cleaning coming soon, so everyone get outside and clean up the yards and help the town. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brookfield. Councillor Compton-Hobbs.
I just wanted to jump on the public safety too. We all see, the number of people moving around the community has increased, is a huge concern. You know, we've been screaming for help now for some time. I'm hoping the government is going to work with us. We've heard that, you know, there's money allotted for security. We need the security now, not in August. I've witnessed some behavior myself in the last week that's not acceptable in the community. So, you know, we need to, and people think, you know, in the community that the council's not doing anything, which is not true. I mean, we are meeting with people, we are writing letters, we are releasing videos, so we are doing something to try, you know, to try to address this ongoing issue. So communication is key, and I keep saying that at the council table, that, and we did release something a couple weeks ago, and we will be releasing in the future, I'm sure. So, you know, bear with us, community, because we are working, we are frustrated, as some of you are, and we will continue to work with this public safety issue and with the government. I just wanted to mention the street numbering policy, because I was approached by a few residents prior to when I ran to get on council, and still recently people mentioned to me about street numbering policy. And we do have a policy in place. It needs to be enforced, and hopefully when we get our municipal enforcement officer, this will be followed up with, because I was on a few streets just last week and I noticed quite a few houses didn't have numbers. You would think that the residents would take it up on themselves to put numbers on their houses, but that's not the case, so there needs to be some enforcement around that. So, you know, for the first responders who are concerned, and some residents in the community who continue to bring it forward to me anyway, and so I've been talking about it a long time, so hopefully our municipal enforcement officer will enforce when he comes on board. And I just wanted to put out there the community cleanup. I'd like to throw a bouquet, I guess, to the businesses who are organizing a community cleanup coming up in the next few weeks. So good on them for doing that. And if we're, like Councillor Broomfield had said, if residents in each household could get out and pick up a bag of garbage around your house, we'd have a cleaner community. This time of year is always dirty with the mud and the snow and the garbage on the side of the road. So the spring cleanup will be happening at the end of May, and the businesses are also taking it on themselves to organize a community cleanup. So good on them for doing that. And again, communication, you know, I agree that there needs to be more communication from the council. I think we are improving that. So just like I said, bear with us. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Winters.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to reiterate what the previous councillor said regarding the transient issue and the public safety. At this point, we are doing what we can. I believe everything within our power. We ask the community to call the RCMP and call the Crime Stoppers line, because numbers do matter when addressing this issue from a different point of view, from a federal or provincial point of view. So please call when you can. Walk in groups. We understand everybody's issues, and please bear with us as we try to navigate through this whole situation. Next point is in wake of the Volunteer Appreciation Week. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I'd like to send out a special thank you to all the volunteers that run organizations like the SPCA, the Recyclers Club, and all the sport organizations, the youth sport organizations. Without your countless hours, things like this didn't happen. And also being chair and wearing another hat, being chair at the Labrador Winter Games. We have over 400 plus volunteers that run those games, and I can't thank them enough, and the community, because 90% or 99.9% of those volunteers come from this community, and I thank each and every one of you. And that just want to throw that out. On May 6th of this year, we'll be having our Volunteer Appreciation Night down at Maxwell's for the 19 above, and we are planning something for 19 and below. That's it for me.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for your efforts at the Labrador Winter Games. Councillor Rumbold.
Thank you, Mayor. When you're towards the end, everybody's already kind of covered it all, but I'm just going to piggyback off of what everybody else has said. Hats off to the organizers and the volunteers at the Guns N' Hoses event. That was fabulous as well. And it was so nice to see all the volunteers in attendance at the hockey game as well. Councillor Broomfield spoke about bicycle safety and helmets. There's so much in this community that we cannot control as far as public safety goes. We all feel anxiety, we're anxious, we're worried about our children, but something we can control is not letting them leave your house without a helmet on, and the fact that they're weaving in and out of traffic sometimes. We've all recognized how fast these electric scooters can go. So, if you're gonna pay the money for a bicycle or a scooter, definitely pick yourself up a well-fitting helmet and encourage the children to wear them. It takes community, they say, and we need to all make sure that we're looking out for one another. To what Councillor Pomeroy said about the online survey, in addition to that, we have some focus group sessions that have been planned for 10 sessions for May the 9th and May the 11th. We're looking for a maximum of 10 people in each focus group session. All that information can be found on our Facebook page, and I was really pleased to see the diversity in those focus groups. So we've got one for seniors 55 plus, one for newcomers that have been in the community for less than 5 years. So I really feel that we will capture a real variety of people in our community and their needs and what's important to them for our future strategic planning. But we can't do that if we don't get people to take part. So really, really, really encouraging members of the community to sign up for those. The information on how to sign up can be found on the Town of Happy Valley Goose Bay Facebook page. Something I'm turning to our CAO to ask, property tax discount date is coming up very close. April the 30th is our discount tax date. Today is April the 25th, but April the 30th falls on a Sunday. So if you're visiting the town hall to pay in person, you would need to be here on Friday, correct? If you pay through your online banking on the weekend, will you still make the discount date?
If the payment date is dated for April 30th or prior, yes.
Okay,
When it's
so-
received, it will be received
Perfect.
as the discount.
So that is an option available to all residents. You can pay through your online banking, whether you're a Scotiabank, TD, RBC, any client. You can log in online. The directions are also on our town website as to how to pay your town tax bill. But if you plan on visiting us here at the town hall, please bear in mind that Friday will be the date to get your discount on your town taxes. And that was it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Rumbold. Deputy Mayor.
Hi, thank you, Mayor. Normally I write this out, and it's normally a positive and sharing everything that's happened throughout the week. This one, I'm at a complete loss for words. I'm disheartened, I'm disappointed in the government, the ministers, and their inaction, complete inaction. It's completely beyond our municipal powers, what's happening in our town. I'm saddened that my child can't walk to school. I'm saddened even more that my youngest child was chased by a group of adults last fall, walking from school. There are 599 occurrences in this month alone, in our town, in Happy Valley Goose Bay. It blew my mind in the meeting when this number came up. And again, compared to last year at 466, comparably for the same month. I mean, obviously, there's more police, Councillor Pomeroy mentioned as well, which is great to see, but obviously it's showing that they're responding to 599 of these occurrences. 101 disturbing the peace call-outs. I mean, it's just, it really is disturbing to hear these numbers. So we as a community must continue to stand together as we have been doing. Know that we are pleading, we are discussing, we are going to be communicating further and doing as much as we possibly can within the municipality to do what we can. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. Well, I have a few items. First of all, I'd like to just bring condolences on behalf of, I guess, the community to the Hickey family and the passing of Tony Hickey. I attended his celebration of life, which was absolutely fantastic. He was always one of those silent, kind of behind-the-scenes folks, but from a strong family and a strong community supporter. So, I pass condolences on to the family at that time, but I think it was fitting to mention him here again this evening, and the condolences from us. As well, two of our employees lost a very close relative here as well, to Kathy and her husband on the passing of her dad. So I know how deeply upsetting that is, and we pass our condolences, thoughts, and prayers on to those. Deputy Mayor, your comments in terms of being disappointed. Yeah, that's I'm over the disappointed word now. I was kind of a bit upset that on Easter Thursday, the day before Good Friday, we received a response to our request for help, and just to recognize the fact that we're frustrated. There wasn't any anger or any malice in that statement. It was a frustration statement. Government spun it around to say things like the council needs to understand its essential role. Well, I can tell you that there's not one person sitting around this table, or staff, that aren't clearly fully understanding what our essential role is. And it's unfortunate that excuse me, others aren't taking that part of their essential role as serious as a group that's sitting around this table for our community's perspective. When we bring issues forward continuously, and we don't get a response, when we hear budget items that we never heard it in the budget, but we heard items that in a subsequent conversation that happened with a minister a month ago tomorrow, and I have still yet to receive a phone call or a message on as Councillor Jackie Compton Hobbs said, of such a crucial, important thing as security. Well, if there was a plan that we weren't consulted in, yeah, we asked for help. No doubt, we asked for help. But if not being part of the solution and not being discussed with is the answer, well, then let's hear the plan. It's a month ago today, or tomorrow, that I had a conversation. Now, coincidentally, I'm invited to an acute response team meeting. The last acute response team meeting happened late last fall. So, that's a positive. I always try to look from a positive perspective. But, yeah, really disappointed in terms of what government has done. In light of the fact that we haven't even received a phone call to say, who we should reach out to. Our MHA is dealing with some, family illness, and rightly so. But we haven't even received a note to say, hey, listen, if there's anything, here's who you should reach out to, especially in such a critical time. We, made it very clear to the province and the acute response, to other members of the acute response team, including the Minister for Labrador Affairs, newly formed now department, Minister for Social and Seniors Development, Minister of Health, Minister of Justice and Public Safety, made it very clear that our concern was that as of the Winter Games, we were going to be in this exact same position that we are living right now today, except it's worse than we thought it was going to be. And it is getting worse. The issues are getting worse. The severity, the threatening when a senior, like you had mentioned your daughter being accosted, when a senior is walking from a local establishment, coming home from bingo and these kinds of stuff, we're seeing it. Anyway, it's frustrating, and from that perspective, we just can't seem to get help. So, Councillor Pomeroy, yeah, I don't know what we do. We've done countless hours, meetings, discussions, and we just, it was mentioned to me today by someone who's pretty well versed in that. It looks like they threw us under the bus. In that announcement on Thursday that they did, and not even, a phone call or a letter, it was an announcement that was done on a Thursday before a long weekend to say that we need to, small t, I'm assuming that means everybody in town needs to get on board and support, and then that the Town Council of Happy Valley Goose Bay needs to understand its essential role. That's just disappointing. And that's not out of anger. Actually, it's almost laughable to me that, the people that we as municipalities, we have, the Municipalities Act, we have the councillors' guidelines, and this is all established by by provincial government, and these are the people that we're reaching out to for help, and that's the way it goes. As a municipality, we're responsible for streets and snow clearing and dogs and, you know, things along that lines. There's nowhere else in the province that this is allowed to go on, or been allowed to go on, or continues to go on at such an escalating and alarming rate. That's disappointing. So from my perspective, we can only reiterate that so many times, but when you continuously, you know, say the same thing, I think I read somewhere that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. Well, we've been doing the same thing the same way, but that result, there is no result. We're getting absolutely nothing. So I'll remain positive that tomorrow, the big announcement maybe will be for security and all this, you know, will change around. But I'm also very optimistic. So we'll remain, and I'll report back to council as I do all the time in terms of what the result of tomorrow's meeting is. So from that perspective, yeah, very disappointed. I won't go on any further in that because it's serious to our community, and it's the viability of our community that and our safety of our community that we've always touted. There is a community cleanup effort going to happen. Some more details will come out shortly, and it will be in cooperation with the town, and it will enhance what we normally do from a cleanup effort. So stay tuned. There's some really good news and great opportunities for everybody to get involved. And I was asked to throw the gauntlet out to council if we would form a group or a team and go out and do some work. And I will throw that out to you guys now, and we can have a chat about how we will proceed. Strategic planning sessions. I've seen a lot of stuff being posted on social media in terms of strategic planning. The strategic planning, the intent is to try and get our community involved in planning what you as a community want to see council involved in terms of dealing with financial resources, human resources, and effort into where we want to be in 4 years or 5 years. So those sessions are important. If you haven't registered, call in and register. Do the survey by all means, as others have mentioned, because it is a huge chance for us to hear from you and in terms of how you want us to proceed and where we want our community to be. That's that one. I want to send a real, big thank you to our winter crews. Thankfully, I guess they'll come to their, we'll be transitioning over from winter cruise to summer. So thank you very much. Thankfully, they haven't had to be too busy this year, which is always good. It's been reiterated several times. If you see something, please don't go post it on Facebook until after you call the police on whatever it is that concerns you in terms of a safety or an indecent act or a concern of that. Please report it to the police and then post away, absolutely. But don't post it on Facebook because we need those numbers. Unfortunately, we don't want them to go up, but realistically, there are a lot of things that are happening that don't go that go unreported. So let's do that. Our arena's converting from ice to grass over the next couple of days, and then soccer will kick in. So that's a real quick changeover, and hopefully I think they're laying the floor down again, and then they're putting the grass on top of the floor, the turf on top of the floor, so that's great. Just a quick update in terms of the bus. You'll see some information come out in terms of the bus project that's happening, and there are some of the council members and I are going to Toronto to the Federation of Canadian Municipality meetings, and at the same time we're going to have a look at a municipality that's close to Toronto in terms of their buses, because they're going with the same type bus, same company, and that kinds of deal. So it'll be a good opportunity for us to pick the brain and just see what project and what bus will be put into. We've had some good meetings with some partners, so we're hoping that that's going to we're going to be able to see some really good news very, very short order. And outside of that, enjoy your holiday. Well deserved. Do you have anything to bring for council before I close? None? No. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Mr. Dillon? All right, good. All right, so with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I still got to look into this. Seconder? Seconded by Councillor Rumble. All those in favor indicate with aye. Motion's adjourned. Meeting's adjourned.